Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a very big lineup of news to share with all of you today. Today's date is September 24th, 2025, and it's Wednesday. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I hope you're all having a great day today. We have so much big news to cover with this war update. We're going to start out with a massive story out of Russia's Republic of Bashkortostan as the Salavat oil refinery has come under attack again. Ukraine just struck it last week, so let's talk about this new report here on your screen. Ukraine strikes Russia's Salavat oil refinery 2 times in just 1 week. Gazprom Neftchin Salavat, Russia's 10th largest refinery with an annual capacity of 10 million metric tons, produces more than 150 petroleum and chemical products. Yeah, so Thursday of last week, Ukraine struck this facility. We reported it to you on Friday morning. And what we heard at the time is Ukrainian drones struck a major oil processing unit. Apparently, the same thing happened overnight again. So 2 major oil processing units at this facility have been struck over the last week. We'll talk more about this. This is a picture coming out from that area showing a huge fire and a blaze at the facility. Lots of smoke coming from over those buildings there. I've got videos for you today as well. Also, electrical substations and a drone warehouse were attacked in the Belgorod and Kursk oblasts of Russia overnight. Power outages reported in those regions. Also, several oil pumping stations in Russia's Volgograd Oblast were attacked. These pump oil for a major pipeline that runs from Russia's Samara Oblast to the port of Novorossiysk in Russia's Krasnodar Krai Oblast. Also, Ukraine launched a massive aerial and ground attack using naval drones on the port of Novorossiysk. This was reported just a couple hours ago. We've got lots of video footage coming out from there, huge explosions across that city. And I did tell you guys just about a week or so ago that Ukraine would be attacking this port, and there we go. And the reason they're doing this is because we were hearing that Russia was diverting a lot of oil flows down to this port in the Krasnodar Krai Oblast due to the strikes up on Ust-Luga near St. Petersburg. That's a major export port that Russia uses. Ukraine bombed it just a couple weeks back. So due to the damage over there, Russia's having to divert a lot of oil flows over to that port. So we'll talk about that as well. Then we've also going to go over some statements that were made between Zelenskyy and Trump yesterday during their meeting at the UN General Assembly in New York. We've got some information coming out from there I want to get you guys caught up on as well. So much news you can see. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Hopping over here to X with Naval reports. Ukraine's general staff confirmed strikes on key Russian targets. The Salavat refinery hit its main oil processing unit, 2 major oil pumping stations in Volgograd, Kuzmishi, -1 and Zenzavatka, if I'm saying that right, a drone plant in Valyuki, and the Astrakhan gas facility, 66% of Russia's sulfur for explosives output. Fires, damage, and disruption are confirmed. We talked about the Astrakhan gas complex yesterday that was confirmed to be attacked. I think it was on the night of the 22nd when Ukraine carried out that strike. And what we heard is the Astrakhan gas complex is completely shut down. So very big news. You can see we're going to talk about a lot of different hits here overnight. We have the Salavat oil refinery, these pumping stations, and then also apparently there was a drone plant in the city of Valyuki located in the Belgorod Oblast. We'll be talking about that as well. I've got pictures out of there. Here's a little bit more information regarding the strikes and a little map that kind of shows where these attacks took place inside of Russia. So it says a brief chronicle of overnight attacks on Russia. This was shared by War Translated. Elgov Kursk region, an electrical substation was destroyed. Valyuki, Belgorod region, a strike targeted Russian military positions. Volgograd, around 1:30 a.m., a series of explosions occurred. Russian air defenses attempted to shoot down Ukrainian drones flying low along the Volga River. No official confirmation yet, but the night was loud and ground impacts are evident. So we know that the attacks at Volgograd were confirmed to be those oil pumping stations, which we will be discussing. Belgorod Industrial Facility was hit overnight. Authorities report casualties at the site. And then Rostov region, going to be explosions and air defense activity were reported in Taganrog, Myasnivkovsky, Milorovsky, Kuyabashevsky, Sholokovsky, Tarasovsky, and Verkny Don districts. Sorry, guys, might be butchering the names of these districts or cities here. And it says here, ground impacts were confirmed in Bozkovskaya Stanitsa. So difficult to pronounce, I do apologize, but here's a little map kind of showing the different areas that were attacked. We've got the area of Taganrog down here in the Rostov Oblast that was coming under attack. I've got a video that I can show you guys, this actual one right here showing a drone that was apparently destroyed mid-air. We have attacks over here in the Volgograd region. That's going to be those oil pumping stations. Then up in the Belgorod and Kursk regions, we have potential strike on a drone plant over there. We're hearing that electrical substations were being destroyed over in the Kursk Oblast. So many crazy hits inside of Russia overnight. Now a map from Drone Bomber, approximate flight routes of our UAVs. Red arrow indicates directions of strike jet-powered UAVs. Blue arrow indicates directions of ballistic cruise missiles. All information on the routes is taken from Russian sources. So you can see the amount of drones going into Russia overnight. A huge attack here just to the east of Ukraine. So yeah, it kind of lines up with exactly what we were seeing. We can see drones going into Belgorod, also the Kursk region here. Huge attack onto the Rostov and Volgograd Oblast. And also we got the Krasnodar Krai that came under attack. We can see this blue line here going to be ballistic and cruise missiles apparently that were being fired as well. I'm not sure what was being attacked using those missiles, but then we got a lot of these drones heading down towards the port of Novorossiysk. And Krasnodar, apparently also Crimea could have been attacked as well. Don't have confirmation of that, but very likely Crimea was attacked. Now Vicegrad 24 breaking: Ukrainian suicide drones strike the Russian oil refinery in Salavat again. A week ago, the facility was hit by a Ukrainian drone for the first time, setting the ELOU-AVT-4 primary oil refining unit on fire that time. This time, ELOU-AVT-4 was hit and also set on fire. Another tough blow for Russia's oil refining capabilities. Salavat is located in the Bashkortostan region, more than 1,300 kilometers from Ukraine. So here's video footage coming out from the Salavat oil refinery showing a massive fire over here. Look at all that smoke. There could have been multiple hits on this facility. We're still waiting for more details, but what we're hearing is a main oil processing unit has once again been struck. This is definitely going to make it difficult for Russia to utilize this facility. And I think the governor of this region was actually claiming that it was attacked. They did confirm that the Salavat oil refinery was hit, and he actually called it a terrorist attack from Ukraine. So very interesting. Now Vicegrad 24 breaking: Ukrainian drones or missiles have struck two Russian intermediate oil pumping stations, Kuzmishi-1 and Zenzevatka. Both are located in the Volgograd region and are used to transport oil from the Saratov region toward Volgograd. Okay, so just a little map or satellite images coming out, and also we have these NASA firms maps indicating that fires broke out on these facilities. So it looks like this one mostly on the west side over here is where a lot of the fires were recorded, and then this one the same thing, mostly on this west side. So still waiting for more reports on the damages here, but I did see some information that was unconfirmed that possibly this could have halted the oil flows through that pipeline. And this is a major pipeline that runs all the way from the Samara Oblast, which we've been talking about, where the Novorossiysk oil refinery is located. That's been attacked numerous times. Also the Kuyibyshev oil refinery, there's two of them over there in the Samara Oblast. And that oil pipeline runs from that area. There's a dispatch station that Ukraine attacked multiple times that transports oil from Samara down to the port of Novorossiysk for oil exports out of the Black Sea. So these pumping stations are connected to that same pipeline and possibly could have shut it down. We'll wait for more details there. All right, now from Nexta. Last night, Russian regions were under drone attack. Soon there will be no fuel anywhere. Drones hit railway stations in Kursk and Belgorod regions. Fires broke out in Elgov and Valyuki. UAVs were down near Taganrog. The footage comes from there. So we got a video coming out from the city of Taganrog down in the Rostov Oblast. We do know in Taganrog there's an aircraft repair facility that the Russians use for their military, their Air Force, and then also there is a military airfield located down here as well. So it does talk about railway stations being attacked in the Kursk and Belgorod regions. Some people were reporting that as well. Can't completely confirm that, but we know for sure there was electrical substations being attacked in those regions. So here's video footage coming out from Taganrog. All right, massive explosion when we see a Ukrainian drone getting intercepted, most likely by a Panzer S-1 air defense system. it definitely was shot down there and exploded mid-air. Very crazy video coming out from Taganrog. Now Noel reports. Kursk region governor, the town of Elgov is under enemy fire. Infrastructure and energy facilities have been damaged. Most residents in Elgov and surrounding district are currently without electricity. Over 20 explosions were reported. So here's video footage coming out from the city of Elgov. This is a city that's been attacked numerous times by Ukraine, located in the Kursk Oblast, just northeast of Ukraine's border, over from the Sumy region of Ukraine. And this could possibly be an electrical substation that's on fire. Again, that's what we have a lot of reports of today. But nonetheless, a huge fire that broke out over here in the Kursk region, the city of Elgov. Now pictures coming out from Belgorod region from War Translated, and this is Valyuki, Belgorod region, burning nicely as well. So these could have been electrical substations, railway stations, or possibly even that drone facility that was being attacked, used by the Russians, probably some sort of warehouse where the Russians were storing drones. Lots of fires breaking out here located in the city of Valyuki as Ukraine carried out a massive drone attack. There's a huge fire here just over this railway here. So looks like we do have some confirmation of pictures at least showing explosions nearby a railway station. Now from Kyiv Independent. Ukraine reportedly strikes Russian Novorossiysk port city, damages oil pipeline operator office. The Caspian Pipeline Consortium confirmed that its office in the city was damaged. Okay, so this Caspian Pipeline Consortium, this is a company inside the city of Novorossiysk, this port city in the Krasnodar Krai, and apparently they manage a major oil pipeline that allows oil flows coming from Kazakhstan through the southwestern portion of Russia into the port of Novorossiysk. So this is two major pipelines that are being attacked right now. We have the one coming from Samara, located more in like central Russia. Then this other pipeline being attacked as well, at least this pipeline consortium office being attacked, located here in the port of Novorossiysk. So two huge pipelines coming under attack by Ukraine right now. So now from Noel reports, footage of Ukrainian naval drone entering the port of Novorossiysk. Russian sources report that some of the naval drones used were equipped with FPV drones that were launched into the city. Yeah, there was so much aerial attacks going on over here, lots of different explosions. You're going to see some Ukrainian naval drones entering the port of Novorossiysk right here, and then some information stating that apparently some of these had FPV drones attached to the top of them that were also launching aerial strikes. So take a look at this.
Хуярит, ну, была или как оно, блядь, залупа. Вообще на похуй ебашит. Не попадают. Не попадают по нему. Не попадают что-то. Ебать. А он к ним идет, он на них ебашит. Попасть не могут, ебануться. Хуярит.
So it looks like Ukraine was carrying out a pretty massive operation here on the port of Novorossiysk. We can see this Ukrainian naval drone traveling through the water right here. We can also see these splashes of water. Those are probably gunfire from Russian forces trying to shoot that Ukrainian USV or unmanned surface vessel here. We can also hear a lot of explosions in the background. There's smoke and fire here in the background as well. So this was a massive attack onto the port of Novorossiysk today. I've got lots of videos to show you guys. Here's another one for Military News UA. New attack by Ukrainian naval drones on the port in Novorossiysk reported. Okay, so here's another video. Check this out. Okay, so from what I understand here, there were multiple waves of unmanned surface vessel attacks onto this port city. You can see multiple Ukrainian Magura V5 naval drones that were going through here in the waters at the Novorossiysk port. So this was like a second attack that was taking place after the first one that Ukraine was carrying out onto the port. Now, Military News UA, right now the port in Novorossiysk is being attacked by drones. Here's video footage coming out showing a huge explosion, probably a Ukrainian Magura V5 that was detonated in the sea over here, located right next to the port. You can see some boats over there as well. So huge attack from Ukraine. Here's another video now, status 6. A state of emergency has been introduced in the Russian city of Novorossiysk, located in the Black Sea coast. Following today's Ukrainian drone attack, Russian authorities claim that at least 2 people have been killed, 8 have been wounded. Yeah, so it wasn't just an attack on the port. There was major explosions happening inside the city. We got video footage here in the city of Novorossiysk. All right, looks like we got a massive explosion that took place over here. Maybe Ukrainian drone slammed into this building. Not sure exactly what this building yet is, or what exactly it is that is on fire, but we can see a lot of smoke here coming from the side of that building. Now, Max 25, Novorossiysk burning maritime drone against a backdrop of Russian warships. Yeah, this is another major port that the Russian Navy uses. Okay, the Black Sea Fleet, they station a lot of their vessels here. We can see what looks like a Ukrainian drone, a naval drone that was destroyed right here. And in the backdrop, we can see some of Russia's naval ships here, warships that are located at this port. Here's another picture, and then just over in the distance, look at that massive fire or smoke coming from that area there. Here's another picture of the same drone that was possibly detonated there in the water. And then one more clear picture that clearly shows a huge amount of smoke coming from that area over there. I'm not sure exactly what it was that was hit. Could have been that oil pipeline office that was attacked there. Now, one more video here from Max 25. And what we're able to see here is what looks like residential buildings that are on fire. I'm not sure how this happened. Maybe there was Ukrainian drones that were being suppressed by electronic warfare. Maybe they were brought down, slamming to the top of this residential building. But there was a lot of reports of residential buildings being hit over here in this huge aerial and ground attack. Now, for Max 25, Russia destroys Kharkiv substations. Okay, the city of Kharkiv also came under attack last night. And I wonder if this was some sort of response due to Ukraine going after electrical substations located in the Kursk and Belgorod regions, because that's what we're going to see right here, an electrical substation in Kharkiv getting slammed by a Russian drone. All right, just a quick clip, but we can see this massive plume of smoke and fire here after this Russian drone slams into what we understand is an electrical substation. There were reports of power outages here in this area as well. Here's a video to confirm that from Maria Avdiva. Right after Zelenskyy Trump talks, Russia hit Kharkiv with a massive drone attack, 17 explosions in the city. The response should be double the support, long range included. Here's video footage showing a major power outage after explosions on electrical substations by Russian drones.
Oh, eat.
All right, so we can see there's a woman here recording. Power goes out right there, and then soon after, bam, that massive explosion, most likely that strike on electrical substation. So we know at least one of them was struck over there, causing some major power outages. Looks like some people did have some power here, but for the most part, no power inside of some areas of Kharkiv after these massive strikes from the Russians. Now let's talk about this meeting between Zelenskyy and Trump yesterday. They made a lot of different statements, so we'll kind of go over some of the things they were talking about as they spoke to the press at the UN General Assembly. So from the Kiev Post, the meeting between President Zelenskyy and Trump concluded following the UN General Assembly. Zelensky's statements were, the Ukrainian armed forces have liberated 360 square kilometers and captured around 1,000 Russian soldiers in recent weeks. That was a huge statement. They are regaining some territory, especially in the eastern side of Ukraine, also in the Sumy region. Also says Ukrainian troops have encircled 1,000 Russian servicemen and aim to exchange them in future prisoner swaps. That's probably in the Dobropilya direction, where the Russians made a major breakthrough and then soon after ended in disaster, and they are now surrounded, is what we're hearing. Trump statements, NATO countries should shoot down a Russian aircraft if they violate Allied airspace. That was a big statement from Trump yesterday. He stood right along NATO countries with their decision to shoot down a Russian aircraft that violate their airspace. He said to a reporter that he thinks that NATO should shoot down any Russian fighter jets that violate NATO airspace. So very big statement from him. Also, we deeply respect the fight Ukraine is putting up. Thought that was interesting. Putting out some nice remarks towards Zelenskyy and saying that Ukraine is putting up a heavy fight against the Russians. Also, Russia doesn't look as powerful as expected, so apparently this war isn't ending anytime soon. So he's also like kind of doing a 180 is what was being reported yesterday, really turning his back on Putin, at least at the moment. We'll see if he turns back towards Putin later. But yeah, he was claiming that Russia doesn't look as powerful as expected, and he thinks the war will not be ending anytime soon. I believe I did put out a YouTube short on that to share that with you guys. He also said, I think Orban will stop buying Russian oil if I talk to him. That's about Hungary buying Russian oil. They're trying to get Hungary and Slovakia to stop buying Russian oil so that way the EU can put sanctions and tariffs onto China at the same time. Trump was really speaking at the UN General Assembly, was really putting pressure onto Europe for purchasing Russian oil yesterday. That was another major thing that he was stating. Finally, it says here Russia's economy is in terrible state and continues collapsing, so Ukraine is doing a very effective job stopping this huge army. Yeah, it's something Trump also stated. He acknowledged the fact that Russia's economy is completely collapsing right now, and he did also state that Ukraine is doing a really good job of stopping Russia's large army. So now from Ukrainian Review, Zelenskyy says, today Trump agreed with me when I said that Putin won't wait for the war in Ukraine to end. He will try to find weaknesses in Europe and NATO. At previous meetings, I said, I don't know what format he'll choose, but today we see it. Yesterday you saw it. Denmark, Norway. This whole month, the Baltic states. We see all of this. We have the entire path of these drones. Romania, Poland, he's using different types of long-range drones to understand Europe's readiness, their air defenses, how trained their people are for this war, and how NATO will respond. So Zelenskyy kind of commenting on these different drone sightings that were reported just the other day in Denmark and Norway, shutting down some airports, these drones that were entering into Poland, attacking into Poland, the drone that went into Romania, and actually multiple drones that have attacked Romania, even the Baltic nations, their airspace being violated by drones. And then we also had those MiG-31Ks just a few days ago that were violating Estonia's airspace, or last week, on Friday. So he's stating that Russia is doing this on purpose, that, they're doing this for a reason, to test air defenses, determine how trained the people are for war inside of NATO, and how NATO is going to be responding, that Russia's doing this on purpose to obtain some information for a possible war against NATO in the future. All right, now for Max 25. If there is no war in the sky, Russia will not be able to continue hostilities on the ground, Zelenskyy stated. If we could strengthen our sky with a powerful system to counter Russian drones and missiles, it would force Russia to stop airstrikes because we would destroy everything, and then Putin would be forced to seek a truce on the ground. I have to agree with that because, for the most part, Russia is only having success in the skies, okay? Their ballistic missile attacks, drone attacks onto Ukraine are obviously very devastating. Yes, Ukraine does destroy a good majority of them, but they're not destroying everything. There's still attacks taking place inside of Ukraine, lots of casualties lost to human life. That's why Ukraine's been calling for, adequate air defense systems, any abilities that they can to shoot down Russian drones and missiles. And he believes that if they were able to control the skies and prevent Russian missile and drone attacks, this would force Russia to seek a truce on the ground. I'd have to agree with that. Let me know if you guys do as well. Now, Vicegrad 24 breaking. Trump calls Russia a paper tiger and says he believes Ukraine, with EU's help, can take back all of Ukraine's territory. Yeah, this was a statement from Trump yesterday, clearly showing that Trump is taking a U-turn here and really siding with Zelenskyy and Ukraine. It says, after getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, the original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Why not? Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win. This is not distinguishing Russia. In fact, it is very much making them look like a paper tiger. When the people living in Moscow and all the great cities, towns, and districts all throughout Russia find out what is really going on with the war, the fact that it's almost impossible for them to get gasoline through the long lines that are being formed, and all the other things that are taking place in their war economy, where most of their money is being spent on fighting in Ukraine, which is great spirit and only getting better. Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Wow, so probably one of the craziest statements I've ever heard Trump make that is pro-Ukraine. Okay, talking about how Russia's economy is collapsing, that Russia is a paper tiger. They're doing terribly in this war. They're not moving on the front line. They're taking on massive losses. And I've stated this so many times, with all the data coming out from Russia and their army, why are they still continuing the fighting inside of Ukraine? This shows how hellbent Putin is on destroying Ukraine, that they will risk it all, risk their economy, risk all their soldiers, just everything. Massive losses on the Russian side, yet they continue fighting in Ukraine. So this is a huge statement and a big 180 coming from Donald Trump today. Let me know what you guys think on this. Do you think this will last, or do you think it's going to change here in the near future and Trump will again side with Putin? Now, from Ukrainian Review, Trump on Ukraine-Russia war. Most of you have seen the recent statement I put out. I'm glad you got it, but I feel that way. Let him get that land back. So we'll see how it works out. And then Zelenskyy also stated Putin shared information with Trump that was far from the truth. Now Trump trusts me more. Much more. Okay, so Zelenskyy stating that apparently Putin gave Trump some information that was false. Trump found out that info and now he's siding with Zelenskyy. So I guess that's some good news. Looks like Putin made a huge mistake there. And then aside from that, Trump commenting on his statement that he made on True Social and calling for Ukraine to take all of their land back. Do you guys think that's going to be possible for Ukraine to do this? I mean, imagine if Ukraine destroys Russia's oil and gas industry to the point where they don't even have fuel to power a lot of Russian military equipment. That's going to be huge, guys. This could be the deciding factor possibly in the future that could allow Ukraine to start regaining territory that they've lost. So this is very big news. We'll have to see how things play out, but let me know what you think on those statements. Now, Max 25, Zelenskyy says, I'm very grateful to Trump. I can't share any details right now. Trump has very important information about the situation on the front lines. This was also something that Zelenskyy told reporters yesterday at the UN General Assembly. Apparently, he's got some information from Trump about the situation on the front lines, and we don't know what the details are, but that sounds like good information for Ukraine. Let me know and speculate on what that could possibly be. All right, also from the official X account from the White House, says he's a brave man and he's putting up one hell of a fight. President of the United States with President Zelenskyy. Yeah, apparently these talks went really well is what I'm hearing. Also, Zelenskyy was very happy with his discussion with President Trump. We've been seeing their relations improving recently. That is something that Trump told Zelenskyy and reporters, that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is very brave and the Ukrainians are putting up a hell of a fight against the Russians. So really good to see this kind of rhetoric and tone coming out from Trump, and a huge 180 for sure. Now, War Translated, Russia is not a tiger but a bear, and there's no such thing as a paper bear, said Dmitry Peskov, commenting on Trump's remarks. Kremlin spokesperson also added that a meeting between Trump and Zelenskyy without prior preparation is a PR stunt doomed to fail. So yeah, this is Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman. He was commenting on what Trump stated, calling Russia a paper tiger, and he said that Russia is actually not a tiger, it is a bear, and there's no such thing as a paper bear. So kind of stating that, Russia is stronger than they appear to be, but at the same time, 3.5 years of fighting inside of Ukraine, they have not obtained any of their objectives, their major objectives of taking over, let's say, control of the Donbass or anything like that. They're losing heavy amounts of equipment and men on the front line. So it's getting worse for Russia every day. And then on the back end, their economy is being destroyed, especially with all these Ukrainian drone strikes on oil and gas infrastructure. Now, Max 25, bad news for Zelenskyy. Trump out of Ukraine war, reported The Telegraph today. And it says, what may at first glance seem like a stunning U-turn may actually be bad news for Zelenskyy. Instead of promising new support for Ukraine or stepping up action against Russia, Trump seems to be handing everything over to Europe and NATO. There is no hint of additional support for Ukraine or that he will punish Moscow even more. His only commitment is to continue selling weapons to allies. It is unlikely to change the rules of the game. Yeah, so the Telegraph reporting today that maybe this is bad news. This isn't actually good. Even though Trump is putting out a huge U-turn and siding with Zelenskyy, we're not hearing a whole lot of what the Trump administration is going to do. But at the same time, I have to kind of disagree with this because Trump has come out numerous times already. He even stated at the UN General Assembly yesterday, calling on Europe to stop buying oil and gas from Russia, sanction China, so that way the US can come in with their sanctions or tariffs or whatever they're going to do to economically pressure Russia as well. So I can't completely agree with that, but I just wanted to share this story with you guys and kind of give you a different side of this story on how this could possibly play out, that maybe it's not so positive for Ukraine. But in my opinion, I don't completely agree with this article here, but you guys can let me know what you think. Now, from Naval reports, Ukrainian sanctions. Russia's fuel shortage is now hitting Moscow, the suburbs, and even Leningrad Oblast. Lukoil has started banning canister sales at some stations, and businesses are reporting restrictions across the region. This is Russian media reporting this today, guys. This is huge. This is continuing to get worse inside of Russia. Their fuel crisis is ongoing. It's spreading to more regions. Last we knew, 20 different regions were being affected. Now we're hearing that Moscow's even being affected by this, the suburbs, and then also the Leningrad Oblast, where St. Petersburg is at. This thing is just spreading like wildfire across Russia. They're even banning the sale of canisters, so people can't buy like oil cans to buy extra fuel. They're having to limit the amount of fuel people are buying. This is absolutely crazy what's happening inside of Russia. And even though Russia wants to continue to deny what's happening, we all know that they are suffering under a major fuel shortage and crisis right now. Now, War News PL. An attempt was made to jam the GPS signal of a Spanish military aircraft carrying Defense Minister Margarita Robles on board. This occurred during a flight over the Baltic Sea near Kaliningrad, Spanish Ministry of Defense. So this is getting dangerous, guys. I mean, at some point, what's going to happen here when one of these planes go down that are carrying a very important person in Europe? Just the last time we had reports, I want to say in the last month, Ursula von der Leyen, the EU Commission president, her plane was apparently affected by some sort of electronic warfare or GPS jamming when she was trying to land in Bulgaria, if you guys remember that story. Now we've got this happening near Kaliningrad, which we know the Russians in Kaliningrad are carrying out lots of what they call spoofing, I believe, GPS jamming inside of Kaliningrad that's affecting a lot of nations nearby. So she was flying near Kaliningrad, and apparently their plane was affected by that. As far as I know, she's okay. The plane did have some sort of encrypted software that protected it from losing its connection to GPS signals or anything like that. But still, nonetheless, very dangerous, guys. And at some point, we could have a huge accident that could possibly lead to a major military response coming from NATO. But yeah, I just want to give you an update on that situation there as well. Now, Naval reports a drone attack on Ukraine. Russia launched 152 UAVs, including about 80 Shaheeds from multiple directions. Ukraine's air defense, electronic warfare units, aviation, and mobile groups shot down or jammed 126 drones. Strikes were recorded in 7 locations. Debris fell in 2 more. All right, so a lot of drones going into Ukraine overnight. Looks like 126 out of these 152 were destroyed. So as you can see, very good numbers pretty much every night. A good majority, but not all being destroyed. That's why Zelenskyy wants more air support, or air defense, that is, air defense units, whatever, to shoot down these drones and missiles. If they can get to 100%, this could possibly force an end to the fighting on the front line. So yeah, very big news here. A lot of drones going into Ukraine, but a good amount being shot down. Now, our final updates here from the Kyiv Independent. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of September 24th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Then our final update here, Russia's losses as of September 24th, 970 troops, 3 AFVs, 130 vehicles and fuel tanks, 2 tanks, 43 artillery systems, 334 UAVs, 1 MLRS, 2 planes, and 4 special equipment. So with these planes right here, I'm not sure if those are those same, those BE-12s, those amphibious aircraft that were apparently being struck and destroyed just a couple days ago. But I did hear some reports yesterday that there could have been 2 more that were attacked. So I'm not sure about that. But Kyiv Independent is reporting that 2 planes were being destroyed over the last 24 hours. So if you guys get information on that, let me know. But I haven't been able to determine what those 2 planes are right here that they're reporting over the last 24 hours. 1 multiple launch rocket system being destroyed. Very good to see. We see that at least 1 or 2 a day. 43 artillery systems, about average numbers here. Tanks and AFVs, still very low numbers that we have been seeing. Vehicles and fuel tanks starting to creep up recently, for sure, more than 100 over the last few days. Just prior to that, we were seeing like 75 or 80 or so. So we're starting to see more vehicles and fuel tanks getting knocked out here on the Russian side. And then troop losses about average, 800-900 or so is what we've typically been seeing. So guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in for this massive report today on September 24th, 2025. And I hope you all have a wonderful day out there. Take care and be safe. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.